on repeat. They were like monkeys. Not in appearance, that was more mechanized human than ape. Nor in action, really. But they did sit at desks, in rows upon rows, as far as the eye could see, much like the image in their head of the masterpiece monkeys, all trying to be the one that wrote Shakespeare on an ancient typing device. A typewriter, if their memory served them well, which it usually did. It had to. Otherwise they might miss something important. That one moment. The be-all and end-all. They sat down at their desk for yet another day and loaded up the path they were working on, so familiar to their eyes that the patterns brought them a sort of comfort. To the uneducated, it might look a little like a family tree, branches upon branches all leading up to one point. But this wasn't about a single family. This was about the entire human existence. The exact origin was the only thing that was acceptable. Anything else could be disastrous. And even when that was believed to be found, there would be endless checking against other paths, because they were bound to be crossovers. It was just a question of how significant those crossovers were. A number of moments had been afforded this treatment, but none had survived the scrutiny. And all this was carried out under the watchful eyes of the seekers, patiently waiting in their simulators because sending them on trial missions would deplete their resources too much. Each one itching to leave. Each one wanting to be the one that did the deed. Everyone wanted this future to be different, but some wanted glory too. At the specified hour, they took their break for lunch. The pills supplied were tasteless, said to be full of protein, fibre and fats, and expanded in your stomach to fill the void. They never felt hungry, but they longed to know what taste really was, what to have different flavour profiles? Yes, that was the term. What that would be like, it was difficult for their imagination to comprehend. They were just words without meaning, but they sounded so enticing. After the consumption minute, which was more than ample time, they took their exercise slot. They strapped themselves in and let the machine move their limbs in all the necessary directions to maintain flexibility and bodily functions. It was always painful, but at least the pain was an experience, and it broke up the day. Then it was back to the desk and that even more painful process of research. They made sure to document everything in painstaking detail, because there was nothing worse than being the successor who had to backtrack on another's work because it wasn't up to scratch. They were the 565th generation on this particular path, and it was nowhere near researched far enough. But one day someone would get there. One day the decision would be made that this was the point at which history changed and brought this existence upon them. And then the seekers would do what needed to be done. They would create a different moment, and if things went well, they would all be released from this. A different past, a different future, or just a different moment to trace. They had a saying scraped into the casing of their screen. The past always repeats itself. It did not bring them hope.